You spray the ants, they disappear. A week later, they're back. Same spot, same trail. Sometimes more of them than before. And at some point, you stop blaming the spray and start wondering if there's something about your house that you just can't fix. There isn't. But there is something happening underneath what you're looking at that almost nobody understands. And once you see it, you'll know exactly why the spray keeps failing, and more importantly, what to actually do about it. Here's the truth that changes everything. You haven't been fighting the ants you see. You've been fighting something hidden that's been operating perfectly the entire time. Let's start with what's actually in front of you when you see that trail. Those ants crossing your counter, moving along the baseboard, filing through that gap near the window. They are not the colony. They're a scouting and foraging team. Workers whose entire role is to leave the nest, find resources, and report back. Expendable by design. When you spray that trail and kill 100 of them, the colony registers a minor gap in its workforce and fills it. The process was already underway before you put the spray can down. This matters more than most people realize, because it means the spray isn't failing. It's just solving the wrong problem. So where is the colony? It could be inside your wall voids, under the foundation, beneath a patio stone, or in a tree root 40 feet from where you're seeing foragers inside your home. The ants travel that entire distance, find what they're looking for, and return with near-perfect accuracy. And the way they do that is where things get genuinely interesting. When a scout finds something worth reporting, it releases pheromones on the way back to the nest, laying down a chemical signal on the surface as it walks. Invisible to us, but to every other ant, it's a precise instruction. Follow this. There's something at the end. Every ant that follows and confirms the find reinforces that trail. It gets stronger. More ants follow. What started as one scout's discovery becomes a coordinated highway of workers moving along the same invisible road. Now here's the aha moment most people never get, and this one is worth paying attention to. When you spray that highway, you kill the ants on it. The trail disappears, you wipe the surface and feel like it's handled, but the pheromone signal beneath your cleaning is still there, soaked into the baseboard, the grout line, the edge of the flooring. When the next wave of foragers comes out, and it always does, some of them cross that residual signal and follow it directly back to the same spot. The road survived the spray. That's why ants return to the exact same route every single time. So here's the first practical takeaway. If ants keep returning to the same corner of your kitchen, don't just spray that spot again. Inspect everything within 2 or 3 feet of it. Behind things, under things, inside things. Ants don't maintain a trail without a reason. Something nearby is worth coming back for. Find it before you spray again, and the spray will actually hold. Cleaning the trail route with soap and water, not just spray, breaks down the pheromone residue and removes the road itself. That step alone changes results for a lot of people. If you're finding this useful, and we're just getting to the part most homeowners miss completely, go ahead and hit subscribe. Practical homeowner content is exactly what this channel covers. Now let's talk about what they're actually finding. Most people assume food is the problem, and food matters. We'll come back to that in a minute. But here's what surprises almost everyone. Water is often a bigger draw than food. Certain ant species prioritize moisture as highly as they prioritize food, sometimes more. And moisture issues are almost always invisible. A slow drip under the bathroom sink, condensation building around a window frame, a wall cavity holding dampness from poor ventilation. These conditions pull ants in with no food source involved at all. And because people look at the kitchen first, the moisture issue in the bathroom, the laundry room, or under the sink never gets found. This becomes important later, but keep it in mind as we go through what homeowners typically miss. Because most people searching for the source check the obvious spots and stop there. Countertops, the stove surface, maybe the trash can. And when those look clean, they assume there's nothing to find and go back to spraying. But the real source is almost never in an obvious spot. Here's where it usually is. Behind the refrigerator, most people haven't moved theirs in months. Crumbs, spills, and residue build up back there completely out of sight. One of the most common hidden attractants in any kitchen, and almost nobody finds it until they actually pull the fridge out. While you're back there, check the water line, too. A slow leak from the refrigerator ice maker connection creates exactly the kind of consistent moisture certain species seek out, behind and under the microwave. Grease and food residue accumulates underneath countertop microwaves and along the wall behind them. Most people wipe the outside. Almost nobody cleans underneath or behind it regularly. Under the stove. The area beneath and behind a stove collects food debris over time in a way that's genuinely surprising the first time you look. Grease, crumbs, and residue end up down there and stay there, a significant attractant that almost never gets checked. Under the dishwasher. Warm, often slightly damp from condensation and minor leaks, and almost never cleaned. Exactly the kind of environment certain species seek out. Food residue combined with consistent moisture in a space that never gets disturbed. The trash can area. Not just the bin itself, but the floor and wall around it. Residue from bags that leaked, spills that weren't fully cleaned, and moisture from organic waste accumulate here more than people realize. Most homeowners clean the bin, but never the space around it. Pet feeding stations. Pet food is one of the most overlooked attractants in any home. The bowl itself, the mat underneath it, the floor around it, all of these collect residue that ants find immediately. Food left out overnight is especially significant. Window frames with moisture damage. Window frames that have developed minor moisture damage from condensation, failed seals, or weather create damp conditions inside the frame itself. Certain species nest directly in damaged wood around windows. You can have an ant problem that looks like it's coming from outside when it's actually originating from inside the frame. Under sinks near plumbing. Even a drip that never puddles keeps the cabinet interior consistently damp. Dark, undisturbed, and moist. Exactly what certain species look for when establishing a trail. Most homeowners check one or two of these. The source is usually in the one they didn't check. Here's a situation that makes this concrete. A homeowner had ants appearing near the kitchen window for about 6 weeks, sprayed repeatedly, wiped every surface, couldn't find anything. Eventually noticed the window frame on the interior side felt slightly soft when pressed. Early moisture damage from a failed seal. Behind the trim, the wood was damp. The ants weren't coming from outside through the window. They were trailing along a moisture source that had been sitting inside the wall the entire time. Once the seal was fixed and the damaged area treated, the trail stopped within days, not because of any spray, but because the condition that justified the trail was gone. 6 weeks of spraying, one discovery inside a window frame. Now, there's one more thing worth knowing, because it explains something that confuses a lot of people. Some ant species can split when they feel threatened. A group of workers takes a queen, moves to a new location, and establishes a second colony nearby. You treat one area aggressively, and a few weeks later, ants appear somewhere completely new. It feels like a different problem. It's the same colony, now running from 2 locations instead of 1. This is why bait products, ones ants carry back to the nest, can be more effective for persistent problems than contact sprays. They reach the source instead of just the surface. So here's what actually breaking this cycle looks like. When you see a trail, clean the route with soap and water first to remove the pheromone road. Then investigate within 2 to 3 feet of where the trail leads, behind things, under things, inside things, before spraying again. Check the locations most people never look: behind the fridge, under the stove, around the trash area, the pet feeding station, window frames, and under the sink. Look for moisture in rooms you wouldn't associate with ants. And if the problem keeps returning after all of that, consider whether a bait product might reach what the spray never can. When you engage with what's actually driving the trail, rather than just what's walking on it, the results last. Here's what I want to leave you with. The next time you see ants in your home, don't ask, "How do I kill these ants?" Ask, "What did these ants discover that I haven't discovered yet?" Because somewhere nearby, behind something, under something, inside something you haven't moved in months, there's a reason they keep showing up. Find that reason, and the ants become easy. Drop a comment and tell me what you're dealing with, where they're showing up, how long it's been going on, what you've already tried. I read every one, and your situation might be exactly what I cover next. And if this kind of content is useful to you, real explanations, practical value, no fluff, subscribe and stick around. There's a lot more coming. The ants aren't the mystery. What they found is. And somewhere in your home right now, there's a clue they've already discovered that you haven't found yet. See you in the next one.